how the Laplacian equation is helping to solve the electrostatic problems. Try to do that. Along with that, you try to learn about these theorems. You write first ANSA EARNSSAW theorem. So, what this theorem basically tells, a charged particle cannot be stable or cannot be held in a state of equilibrium, right. A charged particle cannot be in a state of equilibrium by only the electrostatic force. That theorem is this ANSA theorem. Understand what this theorem means? So, what basically it tells, suppose for example, let this is a arrangement of a group of point charges like this in space. Here is a charge, here is charge, here is charge, here is charge, like that. Everywhere let us say there are q quantity of charge at all points at the corner, and all are equal charge, right, and positive or negative, but they are all similar, right. Then what will happen to that mesh? Let us say all are positive and magnitude is q. You are putting them in this kind of arrangement. Then what will happen here? Do you understand what I am telling? There are how many charges? 8, right. They are arranged in corners of a cube. Just imagine it is a skeleton and the cubes are put at the corners. All are having equal charge and similar, either positive or negative. Then what will happen to that group of charges? Whether that group of charge will settle down or float or goes up. Let us say you are putting that group in space, right. So, when that group of charges are in space, three possibilities are there. Either it will float or it will go up or settle down. What kind of force is acting among them? Electrostatic and repulsive. Each repels each other because they are similar charge, right. So, as a result of that, the net force acting on that group will do what? There will be resultant force on the group. That resultant force will do whatever with that group of charge. So, let us say group of charge is represented by capital Q at a point charge. Then what will happen to that point charge? Net force is, let us say there are 8 charges, each equal to Q. So, total charge will be 8 times small q. Let us say represented by a single point, that is point charge with 8 times the magnitude of that small q. But they are all repelling each other within that space, right. Within that, because it is shown in that way, but otherwise you think about a proton, nucleus, same thing or not. Nucleus is similar thing. They are very close. All positive charges restricted in a very limited region, as if it is at a point or not. Because nucleus dimension is 10 to the minus 15 meter, within that many protons are arranged and they repel each other, but still they never go out. So, whether they are in equilibrium or not equilibrium. Not equilibrium means net force is not 0, right. If net force is not 0, then in what direction that force is acting? Resultant force. Resultant force must act. If the net force is not 0, it is never in equilibrium, right. So, if not in equilibrium, then it should go in some direction of that net force. Then what is that direction? Where will they go? Think in the case of protons in the nucleus, similar thing, same situation. You know about the nucleus, right. You know about the nucleus, the same situation. Let us say take any atom which are having more than one proton except hydrogen. Everywhere there are more number of protons, right. If you take the case of oxygen, there are 8 protons similarly, right. In case of oxygen nucleus, how many protons are there? 8 protons are there, the same situation. Similarly, for all other atoms, maybe more number or less number, then what will happen to that group of protons? which are there all the time inside the nucleus, they will never come out, right. So, that group of protons are in stable equilibrium or unstable equilibrium. If unstable, then what does it mean? They will move randomly because force is there, right, and with acceleration or deceleration. Force means acceleration or deceleration, but if equilibrium, moves without acceleration. They may move, but with uniform velocity, right. So, then now what you are expecting when there is a group of protons which are there all the time in the nucleus? Nucleus is stable or unstable? All nucleus? Not. Then where is the question of radioactivity? Right? Then there should not be any radioactivity. If all are stable, then there should not be radioactivity, but it is there. Then that means it is unstable also, right. Some nuclei are stable and some others are unstable, which are responsible for the radioactivity, right. So, radioactivity is an nucleus which is all the time unstable. Unstable means what? Energy there is minimum or maximum or more than minimum? More than minimum. Once it is more than minimum, unstable, right. Any system, suppose you think that nucleus is a system, but what kind of system it is? Not classical, rather quantum, right. Nucleus is a quantum system consisting of neutrons, protons, and they are all moving, they are not at rest. That is why there is energy levels inside the nucleus also quantized, right. The energy levels of the nucleus are quantized. So, therefore, you can treat that nucleus as a quantum particle, right. And if it is quantum particle and that is stable, then there should not be emission of any radiation like gamma radiation, right. But gamma radiation comes out in radioactivity, alpha particles comes out, beta particles comes out. Then what does it mean? It is stable or unstable? It is unstable, because the energy of the nucleus there is not minimum, right. The energy of the nucleus there is not minimum, hence unstable and goes for radioactivity. But if it is stable, because some nucleus are stable, stable means what? The net binding energy is minimum, right. Net binding energy is minimum means it is most stable, and which is the most stable nuclei? Iron, 56 atomic number, right. There are 56 protons in iron, and that is still it is stable, right. So, the energy by the arrangement of protons in iron nucleus is having stable configuration. Stable means minimum energy, right. Minimum energy configuration is there, that is why it is stable, and the most stable nuclei available to us is iron, whose atomic number is 56, means there are 56 protons, but still it is the most stable, never goes for radioactivity, right. Iron never goes for radioactivity because it is most stable. Then similar situation is there also or not? It is 8 like oxygen, maybe iron, maybe any nuclei you take, right. So, the stability and instability of the nucleus is associated with what kind of force? The stability or instability is relevant to a force. Then what kind of force it is? Can you tell it is electrostatic? No, right, because the protons are not at rest. The proton within the nucleus are not at rest, and once it is not at rest, it cannot be electrostatic, right. But the energy possessed by the nucleus is quantized, that also you know, otherwise there is no emission of gamma radiation, right. Because of transition of these nucleons, there is emission of gamma radiation like light, electromagnetic radiation. Gamma ray is also electromagnetic radiation that comes from the nucleus, because the energy is quantized. right. So, then now if you take this nucleus and basically what kind of forces are involved there if it is a nucleus? Can you tell it is electrostatic or electrodynamic or other than these two? Magnetic also, because nucleus is having spin. So, they are also magnetic particles, right. Proton is having spin, neutron is having spin. So, because of spin there will be a magnetic field also. So, it can be treated to be a magnet. Magnetic force is also existing there, right. Electric force is there, magnetic force is there, but still you are telling iron is more stable. So, many forces are coming into picture, but net force is not affecting the nucleus, that is why it is more stable. So, when you are telling about that kind of nucleus, then think what kind of force is acting on those nucleons present in iron, which is the most stable nucleus. Electric force is there, magnetic force is there, and you know the origin. Electric force is because of the charge of the proton, because protons are charged particles, right. Magnetic force is there because of spin of all neutron as well as proton, right. So, there is coupling, angular momentum, LS coupling, angular momentum spill, right. LL coupling, SS coupling, all together creates a net force, but still it vanishes for iron. That is why it is more stable, right. So, then what will happen, how and why iron nucleus is the most stable nuclei? Most stable means the nucleons inside it are moving with net force 0. They are moving, but not accelerating or decelerating, right. They are moving, but net acceleration or deceleration is not there. Then only you can tell there is no force. When you can tell there is a force? Suppose for example, this is a body, if you will apply the force, then what will happen to that body? There will be acceleration, and so long as there is acceleration, it cannot be stable, right. Similarly, if there is deceleration, if frictional force is there, then automatically also this is decelerating and also not stable. Stable means what? This net force must be equal to 0 vector, then only it is stable. Either it may go with uniform velocity, so that there will not be any acceleration or deceleration, right. Once acceleration, deceleration, never stable, but moves with constant velocity, stable, still stable, because net force is 0, no force, right. Then how these nucleons are bound within the nucleus of iron? There are 56 nucleons including proton and neutron, right. So, there is electric force among the protons, there is magnetic force among all the nucleons. All the nucleons are having magnetic momentum because of their spin, right. So, there is magnetic force, there is electric force, so but resultant is having no effect. The net force still bind them each other very strongly, right. And that is the reason why you are telling it is not neither electric force nor magnetic force, rather it is nuclear force, which is having completely different behavior in comparison to electric and magnetic force, right. Nuclear force is of similar nature of electric and magnetic or different? Different, because it is very complex problem, very complex, right. Many things, many forces are coming to the picture at the same time. So, if you analyze, then the net force is still attractive to keep all the nucleons together, and that is the iron nucleus, right. Still all the nucleons are binding with each other or they are repelled away. There is no nucleus for iron. There is a nucleus, means what? They bind them together. Some force is there which bound them together, otherwise there is no nucleus. And hence that binding force is what force called? Neither electric nor magnetic, rather it is nuclear. And nuclear force is having completely different behavior than that of the electric force, magnetic force, right. So, what that electric force is? What What is the origin of electric force? When there is charge, there will be electric force. May the Coulomb's law be applied or not applied, but whenever there is charge, there is field, fields are interacting, so force is obvious, right. With interaction of field, there will be force. The charge may move, may not move, does not matter, right. So, there is electric force, and when the neutron is moving, there is magnetic force, spin is there, right. Proton is having spin, neutron is also having spin, and they are moving. So, among them there is also magnetic force, and because of motion of the electron also there is magnetic force, because whenever a charged particle is moving, there is current, and that current again constitutes the magnetic field. So, you see the problem is very complex and very complicated. Lot of forces are originated there inside the nucleus. Still all the nucleons are together, that is why you are telling it is a nucleus, right. That means the binding energy of all those nucleons are very strong, otherwise there should not be any nucleus, they will fly away from each other, so that there is no existence of any nucleus, but still it is existing. May be stable, unstable, but the nucleus is existing, and that is the reason why you are telling it is not the electric force, not the magnetic force, rather it is the nuclear force, which is a strong interaction, which is different from weak interaction, electromagnetic interaction, right. Strong interaction is having different behavior and nature, which is completely different than that of electromagnetic interaction or weak interaction. You know about weak interaction and electromagnetic interaction. Nuclear interaction is different, right. So, what kind of interaction there is? Strong. It is under the category of strong interaction. Nuclear force is all the time strong interaction. That is the reason why nucleus is stable. Nucleus is having a stable entity, that you are telling yes, it is a nucleus. Otherwise, there should not be any existence of nucleus, there should not be any nucleus. Because of that strong interaction, all the nucleons are binding with each other so strongly that there is a definite shape and size of the nucleus, and we are telling yes, it is a nucleus, and nucleus is existing, it is experimentally verified, justified. So, then in what way the strong interaction is different than electromagnetic interaction? It must be different, right. The strong interaction must be different than weak and electromagnetic interactions. So, when you are telling that there is a strong interaction, then obviously it tells that whether it is charge dependent or independent. Yes, you see the nature. When you are telling electromagnetic, you can never tell that it is charge independent, but here independent. Between neutron it is there, between neutron proton also it is there, between proton and proton is also there, right. Nuclear interaction is among proton neutron, neutron. Otherwise, what will happen? There is instability. So, it is among all the nucleons in a similar way, because it is independent of charge, right. It is independent of charge. Charge may be there, may not be there, does not matter. It only acts on the nucleons. The nucleons may be proton, may be neutron. So, this strong interaction which is there in the nucleus is having different behavior in the way that they are charge independent, right. They are charge independent. So, but still there are some stable and some unstable nuclei, right. There are some stable nuclei, like iron is the most stable, whereas uranium is unstable, right. Uranium is unstable or stable nuclei? Unstable. Having how many neutrons, protons? Atomic number? Atomic number, not mass number. 92. Of course, isotopes are there, right. But imagine there are 92 protons, all are having positive charge. Along with that, neutrons are there which are neutral. So, total is around more than 200, right. Around 200 nucleons are there together, which is your uranium nucleus, but that is not stable. but in iron there are 58 number of nucleons, 58 is the atomic number or mass number, not atomic number. That means 56 number of nucleons are existing, both proton and neutron, right, but still it is very stable, very stable nuclei, iron, and all other nuclei are weaker than that of iron. You go to this side or that side, right. If you plot a graph, then the graph look like what? If you go by atomic number, then how it goes? It goes like that, here it comes, and what is this position? Iron, right. So, either you come to this side less than 56 or more than 56, they are all less stable than iron, right. And in these regions only you are getting radioactivity, never with the iron, because it is more stable. Iron is not a radioactive element, but uranium is, it is in this side, right. Similarly, in this side also there is some unstable nuclei, and the magic number nuclei are, what do you mean by magic number? Now, what are the numbers? What are the magic numbers? 2, 2, 8, 8 once it is there, 18, yes, 32, like that there are few numbers which are magic. Why? Not all, right. These nuclei are very stable again, that is why that magic number tells that they are also stable, but not like iron. That is why there are peaks. At helium there is a peak, implies more binding energy per nucleon. This is the binding energy per nucleon. This graph is binding energy per nucleon and is maximum here, right. That helps to bind the nucleons together. So, the binding energy per nucleon for iron is maximum, but for those magic numbers it goes on reducing, but still you are getting peaks. Suppose for example, you go in that way, here is a peak, then here is another peak, then here is another peak. So, these peaks implies the stability. Binding energy per nucleon is suddenly increases at that point, that means that nucleus again stable, and those, that is why that they are the magic numbers. Helium nuclei is stable, oxygen stable, then what happens there? Why you are telling they are stable, but others are not stable? Binding energy per nucleon for those magic number nuclei are stable or maximum. Stable means what? It has maximum binding energy per nucleon. If it is less, then it is unstable, right. Like iron, why iron is more stable? Because the binding energy per nucleon of iron is maximum, right. That is why there is a peak, that peak corresponds to iron nuclei. But if you come to this side, you are getting some other nuclei which are represented by the magic numbers, means they are also stable, right. So, this side, whether it is going for fission or fusion, this side light nuclei, fusion, light nuclei combine to give a nuclei of higher mass number, right, that is called as fusion. So, in fusion energy is evolved or absorbed, because fusion and fission are the two processes in which nucleons are interacting, right. So, when it is fission, then big nucleus splits into small, but when small nuclei together mix, then it is fusion, they fuse each other, right. Fission means breaking, a big nuclei will break into small, but in both the processes energy is released, in both the processes, may be fission or fusion, right, may it be fission or fusion, in both the cases the energy is all the time evolved out, never being absorbed, right. So, we are using those energies in our day to day activities also. What is solar energy? Fission or fusion? Fission, right. And fission, fusion, where you are using the energy from the fusion process, nuclear fusion. Hydrogen bomb is under what category? Fusion or fission? Atomic bomb and hydrogen bomb, what is the difference? Are they same or different? In both the cases energy is evolved, right? Atomic bomb and hydrogen bomb. Atomic or hydrogen? Hydrogen is fusion, atomic is fission, right? And in both the cases energy is evolved and it is so high that it creates disasters, right? Any bomb, may it be hydrogen bomb, may it be atomic bomb, the energy evolved out of the explosion is so high that disasters are happening, right? The energy evolved is very, very high, extremely high. It causes lot of damages both to living and non-living objects. Then you see, imagine hydrogen is a very light particle, but when they will combine, how much amount of energy is released out of it, which is the hydrogen bomb. And nuclear power plant follows with what process? Nuclear power plant, we are getting power out of it. Many such nuclear power plants are there in our country and they are supplying us this electric energy, right? But they are by fission or fusion process? Fission, right? So, you see, in case of uranium, there is fission, energy is released and we are utilizing that energy as the electric energy, right? But in fusion, hydrogen nuclei combine together and same thing, energy is released, which causes disasters. So, how the energy can be utilized both in peaceful and destructive manner? Bomb is for destructive purpose, but electric power is constructive. So, in what way you will utilize the energy, that depends on you, but we are getting energy, lot of energy, plenty of energy, right? The nuclear power plants are many now in our country, but it was not there previously. Why? Why people are now thinking about the nuclear power plant instead of hydroelectric power plant, thermal power plant? Now we are looking for the nuclear power plant. Power plant is to generate the electric power, energy, may it be hydroelectric, may it be thermal or may it be nuclear, right? But then why people are now thinking about the nuclear power plant? Yes, cleaner and more efficient, but there is hazards. Unless the nuclear waste is properly utilized, there will be hazards. That is the only demerit, right? No doubt the environment is very clean when it is nuclear power, not like hydroelectric, not like thermal, because in thermal what will happen? Ash will come out, coal will burn, ash will come out and spoil the environment. There is pollution, both water, air, soil, all are getting polluted by thermal power plants. And similarly, if it is hydroelectric power plant like dams, that also creates the electric power, right? But the problem there is, what is the problem for hydroelectric power plant now? Rainfall is gradually reducing. So, from where you will get the water? We are not getting water for drinking, right? We are not getting pure water for drinking, for agriculture. So, from where you will get that water to create this power? One is rain level is going on reducing day by day because of again environmental issue, that is again environmental issue, and by that also there is erosion, soil erosion, many plants are going away and because of that the rainfall is gradually reducing, creating problem in the environment. So, hydroelectric plant, if the rainfall will go on reducing and reducing and reducing, time will come we can never get any power from the hydroelectric power plant, right? If there is no water, from where you will get the hydroelectric power? If you will not get water for agriculture, for drinking, for other main purposes, how can you use that water for generating the power? And that time is coming. Similarly, in case of thermal power plant, coal, utilization of coal is so high now, maybe after few years you will not get any coal. Then how can you generate the thermal power, right? Thermal power is generated from coal, burning the coal. So, there is no water, no coal, then these two projects are stopped down after few years, and they are also causing the problem, environmental issues. But in comparison to these two kinds of projects, nuclear power plant is better in the sense there is no such environmental issue if the nuclear waste is properly sealed so that no radiation comes out, right. Usually they are put in the cells within the sea, but that seal should be very good, otherwise the living creatures in the water sea will die, right. It may not affect the human being, but what about the living beings, those who are living inside the water in the sea? That is the only problem with the nuclear power, otherwise it is very clean energy, right. And moreover, the very important thing is that imagine if you burn 1000 tons of coal, whatever power you can generate, that same amount of energy can be generated by utilizing how many nuclear materials? Maybe maximum half kilo, right, maximum half kilo. 1000 tons is comparable to half kilo, same energy, same power, right. So, once you take out the coal, your earth is stable or unstable? Mines are there, it creates instability in the earth, right. But if you take 1000 tons of coal and take only half kilo of uranium, that is also available in the nature, that is also natural resources. So, which will bring us to instability, coal or uranium? Obviously coal, but because you are using a huge amount to create the power in terms of tons, but when it is nuclear, it is very, very small. Same amount of power is generated from 1000 tons can be replaced only by half kilo, maybe may not be half kilo even, less than half kilo, give you the same amount of energy, same amount of power. So, making environment clean, stable, that is why it is the best resources for electric power generation now across the world, including us, right, including us. We are also going for that program, and many more nuclear power plants are there now in India, because there is no option with us. You have to think about the next source of energy, because all the natural resources are going to be vanished after few years. That is why the solar cells are coming. Using natural resources, how can you get the power? And similarly, nuclear power plants, the water, sea water is also generating power now. So, these are the options before us to get the electric power to maintain our life, because it is so difficult now, without power you cannot live, right. Without power we cannot live. So, from where you will get the power? There should be source. So, that is the energy crisis problem, not only for our country, but across the globe, similar thing, same situation. So, people are going for the different options. Some are trying for solar cells, some are trying for the tidal source. In sea source you are getting the tidal energy. From the sea wave they are creating electric power when there is sea. So, these are the options before us to go for the power creation or power generation for our livelihood. And the maximum power that we are getting now is nuclear, maximum. So, then now the question is how that nucleus is giving that much amount of energy, because of which process? Fission, right. Because of fission process we are getting that much amount of energy out of a very tiny nucleus, very tiny. So, it is so powerful, that is why nucleus is very powerful. And again, that is stable or unstable, that depends on what? Binding energy per nucleon, right, binding energy per nucleon. If it is less than 5, the value is around 8 MeV for iron. If it is less than that or more than that, it goes for instability, maybe fission or fusion. That side is fusion, this side is low atomic number means what? Light elements, they will go for fusion. Heavy elements are going for fission, and both are giving us energy, right? Both are giving us energy. So, now the question is, when you are telling about the nucleus which is most stable, the behavior of the force existing there is different than that of the electrostatic, electric and magnetic. So, behavior of the nuclear force is different from electromagnetic force and weak force. Weak force is what? Gravitational, right? Gravitational force is different from electromagnetic or same? Gravitational force is similar to electromagnetic or different? Different. What is the difference? It is again charge independent, right? Gravitational force is only depends on the mass, not the charge, like nuclear force. Nuclear force is charge independent, gravitational force is also charge independent. So, in between protons and neutrons there is gravitational force or not? Yes, there, but it is negligible, right. So, combining together the new force that is existing within the nucleus is called as the nuclear force, which is all the time attractive, all the time attractive, like gravitational. Gravitational force is never repulsive, all the time attractive. Nuclear force or strong interaction is all the time attractive, but electrostatic may be, may not be, depends on the charge. So, when you are thinking in that way, you compare this problem in the similar way. There is a cloud of protons or positive charges, whether they are stable in the space or unstable. And stability and instability is very important, because you see, like for example, when you are telling there is radiation comes out of an atom, what happens there and why it comes out? Because of stability or instability? Instability. How radiation comes out of an atom? How radiation comes out of an atom? May it be visible or invisible? Except gamma radiation, all other radiations are coming out of the atom due to transition of electrons. So, they are extra nuclear phenomena that happens outside the nucleus, but when it is gamma radiation within the nucleus. So, except gamma radiation, all other electromagnetic radiations are created from electron transition, means extra nuclear, but gamma radiation is intranuclear, but all are electromagnetic. Gamma radiation is electromagnetic, X-ray is electromagnetic, but X-ray never comes from the nucleus. Visible light never comes from the nucleus. Microwave never comes from the nucleus. They are all extra nuclear phenomena due to transition of electrons, right. So, then now tell how this radiation comes out of an atom. Can all all atom is able to radiate energy all the time? Can an atom all the time able to emit the radiation? No. Then what is the requirement? When they will go for emitting radiation? If they will be excited, that excitation is nothing but the instability. That excitation is the instability. You are making the atom unstable to get that radiation, and it occurs in nature also. Naturally it excites, right. Naturally also many various kinds of energy is available in this nature, and because of this energy the atoms are getting excited automatically within the nature. Hence the radiations are coming out, which you are telling as visible radiation and invisible radiation. So, that instability is nothing but the excitation of an atom. That means, if you take a stable atom, there is no chance of emitting radiation, right. So, when you are telling it is stable and when it is excited, what is the difference? When an atom is stable and when it is excited or unstable. Let us take any atom, tell when it is stable and when it is unstable. Every atom can be unstable and can be stable, right. Every atom available in the periodic table can be stable or unstable, depending on radiation. I am telling, not I am dealing with the nucleus, extra nuclear phenomena deals with the electron, right. So, when it is unstable and when the atom is stable. Atom is a quantum system, right. It is never classical system, it is a quantum system, and that is why I am told, when you are telling a nucleus, around the nucleus the electron cloud is existing, it is because of what? What kind of potential? You might have read the quantum mechanics, right. What kind of problem it is? It is a particle in a box, same thing, right. It is particle in a box, otherwise there should not be quantization of energy of the electrons, right. That means the energy of the electrons in an atom is all the time quantized, that is why you are getting the cells. It is just the example like particle in a box, right, because there is nucleus and there is no such visible boundary, but it is just like a box. The potential of the nucleus around the nucleus is a box and all the electrons are within that box, and the energy of the electron with the box is all the time quantized. Hence, the energy of the electrons are quantized, that is why you are getting the levels, right. Then, but still you are telling it is a stable nuclei, stable atom and others are not stable, then how and why? When you will tell it is a stable atom and when it is unstable? If the energy of the atom is minimum, every atom has its own energy, right. Energy means energy of the nucleus and energy of the electron cloud together. If it is minimum, then only you can tell it is stable, right. Otherwise, it is unstable. For example, if you will take hydrogen gas at NTP, then hydrogen is stable or unstable? Hydrogen gas at NTP, normal temperature and pressure. So, the hydrogen atoms there will be stable or unstable? Stable, it will never go for any spectra, remember it. The spectra means radiation emission. So, if you take that gas to NTP, normal temperature and pressure or standard temperature and pressure, then there is no emission of any spectra relevant to hydrogen. But if you take general hydrogen gas, then all the time you are getting the spectra, because hydrogen gets excited by getting the energy from the environment, right. So, that excitation means instability and minimum energy is the stability. At NTP, it possesses minimum energy of the system atom, but if it is more than that, by any way, if it gets energy from any external source, then it will get excited, and once it is going to excited state, it is all the time unstable because it is more than the minimum energy, right. A system is said to be stable only when it has minimum energy. If it is more than minimum, it is unstable, and again in case of this atom, it takes how much time to become stable. So, that is the reason why every system in this universe is all the time trying to possess minimum energy to become stable. All the system, may it be living or non-living, right. Living system, non-living system, if unstable, all the time they tries to become stable by releasing energy, right. Once excited, you have to come down, like sometimes you are also telling don't be get excited. What does it mean? Don't be get excited means your level is going up, energy level. Cool down, because it will be stable state, so that there will not be any disturbance in your mind, in your health. So, like that, any system available in this universe follows the same natural law, that if the energy of the system is not minimum, it always tries to become stable by arriving at minimum energy state, and that is the reason why crores and crores of phenomena are simultaneously occurring in this nature, crores and crores, you cannot count them, because the systems are unstable all the time, every time, may it be living or non-living system, right. So, now you try to understand what I am telling, how this force, may it be charged particle, may not be charged particle, but how the force is responsible for such kind of radiations or phenomena that we are dealing with, right. Nuclear phenomena is relevant to electric force or not? Definitely. If you take atom, again depends on the electric force, and magnetic also, hence electromagnetic. The radiation is electromagnetic, electron is associated with what kind of force? Both electric and magnetic, right. When the electron is revolving around the nucleus, what kind of force is associated with that? Electric or magnetic or both? Both. Because of spin magnetic, because of motion again magnetic, that is why there is coupling. LS coupling, angular momentum and spin, and they are all quantum mechanical problems, because atom itself is a quantum particle. So, then now this group of charges will be treated as a single charge, and that will float in space, right. All will repel each other, but they cannot leave from each other, like nucleus. That happens, right. That happens inside the nucleus, but still it is not stable. That means some other agency is required to stabilize it, because some nuclei are stable, some are not stable. Unstability is all right, but when it is stable, when the nucleus is stable, what happens there? Some other agency must cancel out that force existing between those protons, right. Some other force must be there existing, which neutralizes as a result the net force acting on the charge or the total proton charge as a single particle is neutralized, so that they can move randomly with uniform velocity without any acceleration or deceleration, hence stable. Then what is that source? What kind of source it is? And that leads to your particle physics. Various particles are there involved there on the way. As a result of that, the net force of the nucleus is minimum if it is stable, right. So, it deals with various kinds of particles like mesons, pions, many, because the electron is a fundamental particle or not? Electron. Atom? No. Why? Why not? Because it can break into tiny particles like electron, proton, neutron, etc. That is why it cannot be fundamental, right. Similarly, electron, is electron, proton, neutron are fundamental? No, because they again splitted into various kinds of particles, elementary particles, right. So, if you go on breaking like that, then now quarks are coming, they are fundamental, because after that again people are researching still further breaking is possible or not, right. Imagine from quark you are getting electron, proton, neutron, atom breaks proton, neutron, electron, and every individual particle now proton, neutron, electron are further break to give you quarks, colors. And now we are trying to go for more further, so that either these quarks and colors are further divisible or not. If yes, then we will also neglect these colors and quarks. They cannot be fundamental, they cannot be elementary, right. So, initially when the discovery of atom comes, we are telling atom is a fundamental particle. When electron, neutron, proton comes, we are telling electron is a fundamental particle, but now we are not accepting because it is further divided, and the similar process is continuing. It may happen after some days, years, those quarks and colors may be further divided to explain the situation around us. Like for example, the hadron collision. What that hadron collision is, why people are spending a lot of money? What is the reason behind it? Hadron collision, you heard about it or not? What is that hadron collision? Scientists across the globe are engaged together to solve a particular problem, whether that Higgs boson is existing or not, only for that. Then why people are spending that much time and that much money? Because there is some reason behind it. Otherwise, we are unable to explain how this universe is created, only for that purpose. Higgs boson is theoretically discovered, so remain as the hypothesis, but never be proved experimental till now, right. Unless it is experimentally and theoretically verified, no scientist can accept it and nobody will accept it. That is why people are going after that. Experimentally it is not verified, but theoretically it is existing, and that is the hadron collision experiment going on, where many scientists across the globe are engaged together just to discover whether that kind of bosons are available or not. existing or not, right. So, anyway you try to do this, you write another thing, this theorem you know about, it will tell never the electrostatic force makes the system stable, right. Similarly, there are two more theories that you have to learn. One is known as the uniqueness theorem, that tells about the relation between electrostatic force and potential, how volume of a charged particle is relevant with the surface around it. You know about volume integration, surface integration, right. So, similarly these two theorems, uniqueness theorem, you remember, there is first theorem and second theorem that are relevant with the charge in a volume and how it is relevant to the charge around that surface, because every volume is enclosed by a surface, right. Every volume is enclosed by a surface, and that these two theorems will tell about it, which will help us to solve the same electrostatic problems also, right. Then the next method is image. You see how the problems can be solved. One, first you do it manually, like taking the point charges, group of charges, charge density, you calculated potential and electric fields, right. Now, with the help of this Laplace equation also you are doing the same job using those theories or those theorems. The next process is the image, electric image, that is another method to evaluate same problem, to solve the similar problem, right. That we will discuss tomorrow, but read about these two things which are relevant with Laplacian equation solving. Is there in the book, try to cover it up. If any problem you ask me.